Turning now to the border, where authorities are bracing for the end of Title 42 next week.
The Trump-era policy has been used to quickly turn away thousands of migrants coming to the border. In El Paso, Texas, city officials say around 2,500 migrants are crossing the border every day. They fear that number could double when Title 42 ends.
19 Republican-led states from Texas to Ohio are fighting to delay the end of Title 42. An appeals court could rule on that today. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano. She's in El Paso, Texas. Thanks for joining us, Lilia. Those numbers are pretty staggering. What are you seeing at the border right now?
Michelle, Elaine, the site here in El Paso is very different from what it has been in the past. I've been talking to people who work here, and who are sometimes scrambling to help, to chip in, to deal with the high number of people who are coming in. The majority of people coming are from Nicaragua. Nicaragua is a country that is not taking deportees from the United States, and that under Title 42, if you pardon me, I kind of lost my audio here for a second. Under Title 42 is a country that people cannot be expelled immediately to Mexico. Mexico has an agreement with the United States to take in migrants, for instance, from places like Venezuela. So instead of, when they try to cross the border, asylum seekers from Venezuela, U.S. authorities can immediately expel them. That's not the case with people from Nicaragua. So a lot of the people that we heard from yesterday that we talked to on that line waiting to cross into the U.S. were from countries from Colombia, Ecuador, from Nicaragua that are not being expelled directly to Mexico. Of course, the stories are horrific. I heard from the parents of a young girl who were telling me in Ecuador, she was being threatened. The criminal organized crime gangs there were demanding that they pay them weekly money that they couldn't afford, that they were surveilling the girl, and they just had to leave with whatever they had, which is nothing, and make that journey across the border. Very similar history with people from this couple I met from Colombia, where they lived in Bogota. The father was a worker with vulnerable populations there. Similar situation, organized crime groups threatening them. Their family don't even know that they're here. Their family members think that they're in a honeymoon, that they're on vacation, because they were super scared that, somebody else would be targeted, and they're scared on the journey along. I've met people here who've been kidnapped by criminal cartels in Mexico, and all of that desperation is really accumulating there at the border. Now, in a week, if today it is decided that Title 42 will in fact be lifted, if the Republican states that are challenging the end of Title 42 essentially lose this appeal, that means that the numbers of people that we're seeing, the thousands that are coming in cities like El Paso, are going to increase. I talked, for instance, to Venezuelan migrants, the ones that are being expelled to Mexico, who are waiting for the 21st to make that journey and ask for asylum for very similar reasons. Some people are leaving extreme poverty. But what they're saying is, we hope that the U.S. will give us an opportunity to come to the U.S. to work. Nobody wants to leave their country. Nobody wants to be separated from their family. I've talked to grown men who are crying, thinking about how much they're missing already, their children, their spouses, but that they feel that this is the only place where there's an opportunity for them to work and improve their families' living conditions.
It is sobering, Lilia, to hear the stories that you are hearing about these extreme circumstances that these migrants have been facing. So, as you know, the Biden administration has put out a plan. It's a 6-point plan for when Title 42 is lifted. What exactly is in it, and what would be the practical impact on operations at the border?
Well, the 6-pillar plan includes things like, at the most immediate, increasing resources to the border, increasing resources and personnel to help the local nonprofits that are navigating, that are managing the crisis, increasing resources for them to staff more people, to make it easier to get people to the places they need to get, to help people, transport them to the places where their family members or sponsors are waiting for them. They're also cracking down on smuggling. I mean, that is a big part of this. It is a huge business. Like anything that is a black market, it's a huge business for smugglers, not just in Mexico, but in Guatemala, just all along the journey that a lot of people have to travel. They're telling me, look, it's not just the people that we pay to carry us along. It's it's officials from these countries, it's the bus drivers, it's sometimes law enforcement. Everybody wants money from them. So because it is a big business, they're trying to crack down on smuggling. They're also increasing penalties or consequences, making it more strict for people who cross illegally, not for asylum seekers. They're also working with international partners, with the countries where people come from, to deter what they call irregular migration, to figure out a way to partner with countries to either receive migrants or to reduce the conditions or manage or mitigate the conditions that force people out of their homes and into the United States. And the most immediate too is to make it more efficient and effective for U.S. immigration authorities to process people faster at the ports of entry in border towns.
So many of those countries in Central and South America impacted over the last several decades in undermining their economic structure through war. I mean, this is what is taking place, and this is the after effect.
Yeah, systemic issues.
Systemic issues that a lot of people believe we need to take a big hand in helping to correct. Lilia Luciano, thank you so much.